afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, we'll work on that, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Today, I'm so happy that we have Vince Perrotta on. He is from our N3 group. So we talk about a lot of things, but Vince and I work together a lot in mentoring. You've mentored a lot, Vince, and welcome to the show, by the way.
Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody out there. 2022 is going to be good.
It's going to be real good. It's a year of hope.
Year of hope. I like that. So you do a lot of mentoring, corporate mentoring. You also mentor in your business right now, other people starting up businesses. In your industry. Why do you do that?
You really, if you really want to enjoy what you do, to be able to share it with other people, to help them find the way to make their inspiration become a reality.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. I like watching someone's vision and dreams become a reality for them. And if you have a little bit to do with it, so rewarding.
You express that really well. You have a little bit to do with it. All you do is kind of help them see their way through it.
I look at it as the inspirational spark. Right. The rest is on them.
That's right.
So that's why usually when I work with people, I look for three things. Fire in their belly. Can't teach that.
Right.
You either have it or you don't. Desire to succeed. And they'll show up for them. And at the end of the show, I always go, show up for you and show up big. What I mean is you are invested. You're gonna show up and do the work. If I have more investment in your business than you do, we got a problem. Got a little bit of problem.
That's right.
And it's not my problem.
No, it's not. And that's the thing. Sometimes when you mentor folks, the first thing that you have to get over is you can't make anyone do anything.
Nope.
And people can express their excitement, their enthusiasm, but it has to translate into tangible action.
Actions, yeah.
That's it.
So three things I noticed in reading all the books that I've read over the years, in working with people. There are three things that are very consistent in everybody's philosophies. And I'm certified by Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Mary Morrissey, Joe Vitale. I mean, the list goes on. And the reason is they all have different tools. Right. And I can then take those tools and adjust it to my clients depending on what they want. Because people who like the Tony Robbins approach aren't the Jack Canfield type people. Right. And people who are the Mary Morrissey approach are certainly not the Joe Vitale or the Joe Dispenza type of people. So, but the three things it always boils down to is goal setting, taking massive, I call it imperfect actions, now I call it massive, imperfect, inspired actions. So whichever you want to take on that. And then the third one, which was something I had been missing, but the third one is consistency. Consistency. So those three things I think are real important, which brings us to what we want to talk about today, which is goal setting, right? Mm-hmm. For 2022.
Yes. Perfect
time to set goals. And so, why do you set goals, Vince?
So you really never know, if you don't set a goal, you really never know, did I do well? Did I do poorly? Did I overachieve or underachieve, right? We all want
Could I have done better?
Could you have done better?
Yeah.
And the celebratory component of success is in looking back and saying, boy, I did a great job. I really blew that out. I didn't think I could do that. And I think that when you take that time and thoughtfully set a goal, you end up driving a lot of the results right there because you've already said to yourself, I know where that finish line is and I got to get there.
Yeah. Is it all monetarily designed goals?
I don't think so. I think if you speak to the average successful young person that's starting out, they'll tell you it's just their desire to make this dream come true, or I've always wanted to do this. They don't talk about the money. They talk about I want to, and they fill in the blank beautifully of what they want to do, like make a change, do something incredible.
Yeah. It's for me, goal setting is how am I going to make an impact, a more positive impact, and then the money follows, right?
Right.
But a lot of times when people goal set, or they think they don't goal set, but they determine whether or not they're successful or not based on money, right, based on how much money or income they're making. And that doesn't necessarily equate to success. Because success is a different definition to each of us, right?
That's true, and that's a critical point. It is defined differently by everyone, so you have to know your definition of success. That's going to help with your goal setting,
right?
And Lorianne and I just did a program together recently, and she was nice enough to work with a group of folks that I work with. And you did goal setting. And one of the things you help people recognize is you kind of gave them a vision. You gave them, like, what do you see? What is it that drives you to that goal, right? Because we keep talking about inspiration and goal setting. They go together. And you really helped folks recognize that I don't do it for the money.
No.
I do it because of this. I can tell you personally, for me, it's my family. It's always been, what can I do for my family by virtue of my personal success and professional success, right? What can I give back to other people? That gives me a personal sense of happiness, right? That's not a dollar value. It's
joy.
Who I am. It's joy. That's a great way.
It's joy. And joy, there's no financial on joy. There's no value on joy except for the value that it brings you, the happiness it brings you. So when I'm helping other people, it's that joy is more valuable to me. Don't get me wrong, I love the paycheck, right. But but it's the joy of watching their success. It's the joy of having a little bit to do with it. And I like that you said it's your family. There's inspiration behind it. It's your why. Why you do what you do is so you could live a good life, and so that you can help other people, and you can also live the life you want with your family, provide what you all want, go on vacations, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I keep referring to young people because right now...
Because you feel really old?
Not until now.
My bad.
But a lot of folks now are making a major change. If you look at the trends in business today, a lot of young people are resigning and they're deciding, I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
They've said that they want a better life. They want to work, but they want a better life. And I think that goes back to
quality life.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because I think we're similar in age. And when we were brought up and when we were growing up, it was you get a job and you stay at that one job.
Right.
And it used to drive me nuts working in corporations in the last 10 years where it's 2 years, they were called jumpers. And we were like, oh my God, these are jumpers. That's a bad employee because, and the reason why we looked at it as that way is there's a lot of onboarding expense and then retention expense. Those are hardcore expenses that businesses have. So that jumping around drives you crazy because it drives your expenses up as a company. However, on the other side, I'm looking at from the other side, I really value the fact that they don't want to have that loyalty because they don't get it back from the companies. Because the companies aren't like old companies where if you gave loyalty, they were loyal back to you. You had 35 years, 50-year people staying in companies for that long, getting that, what was that watch that everybody used to get? The Rolex?
Yes.
Getting their Rolex watches. That was the goal for them, was to get the Rolex watch.
That occurred in the 90s, and I remember that vividly because gentleman that I reported to said, you no longer get a lifetime employment. What you get is lifetime employability.
Yes.
And I think, folks, that's evolved over time. And now people say, you know what, that's true. I'm going to get my skill sets. I'm going to learn as much as I can in this role. Happy to contribute in a really strong, positive way. Yeah. But I may not be here, for a certain period of time. And it may be time for me to move on when I think I'm not learning, developing, or in a rewarding role that says, I feel like I'm contributing to the organization.
Yeah, it's about feeling valued. Yeah. And it's about contributing. Because you want to get up in the morning and have something to do. Just going there to do whatever isn't fulfilling. And
the number one reason people leave is not money.
Never.
It never is.
Nope.
It's feeling
people say it is.
Connected.
It's like, oh, I got more money. But that's not what it is. If they don't feel valued, they're not leaving, even if they leave for more money. Right. In some cases, people leave for less money, believe it or not. Yeah. But it's never about the money. It's
hence the entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Right? People are leaving jobs that pay them well, but they're taking risk because they're saying, I believe I can succeed. I've got the skill set and I want to enjoy what I do and I want to feel good about what I do. and I think I can achieve it on my own.
It's so funny. It's taken us a long time in America to really look at life this way. And slowly but surely, we're seeing that turn, like you said, from the 80s. I mean, 90s, I believe you're right. That was the turning point where it started. And it's gotten, I think, even more in the last 4 or 5 years.
I think so.
But that's how they live in Europe. They don't live to work like we do.
Right.
They work to live.
Right.
And they work around their life, so it's I was watching a program on Netflix on one of the many weekends. There was, we were, what do they call it? Binge watching. Mm-hmm. And I was watching this show, and it was based in France, and the girl kept showing up at 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. And the rest of them would stroll in at 10. And she's like, I've been here since 9. And they're like, why? And I love that. And then like an hour later, they were off to lunch. And then a couple hours later, they were going out to dinner. And they were not allowed, it's against the law in France, to talk business at a party. I was like, no. I need to move there. Because whenever we went to parties, that's all we did.
Right.
Our networking was at those gatherings, and they were not allowed to talk business. It was frowned upon.
It's a different philosophy beyond the shores of the U.S.
Yeah.
And I think there's kind of a mixed bag. Right.
Yeah.
I worked for a startup European company when I first got out of school. And I remember they had that philosophy. It was very funny because I would be in the office really early. Really
shocker.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, 24/7.
And the guy that I shared an office with my first job, he'd show in kind of 10-ish.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and I remember that our boss would walk in and ask me, "Is he in yet?" And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen him. He goes, "Is he?" I'm like, I really, I've been busy. But he just had this philosophy. It's like, don't worry about it. I'll get the work done, and I just, I don't come in early.
That's not a bad philosophy, and that's something that in the being hybrid between staying at home and having an in-person business, and some people really resisted the going virtual when we had to go virtual, and It was either you go virtual or you shut your doors. Right. You have to make that business decision, and once they made the decision, they were like, well, they're not working hard. I was like, but how do you know?
Right.
Based on how many hours they log on the computer, or based on the projects or the work getting done. If you could get that work done, I think you're getting quality work, because it's much better for you to take a break in the day. And this is very hard, especially for me. I'm a don't take lunch girl.
Right.
I just let me just work through so now I can get home sooner. But the taking that break is important. Whether you eat or not, take a walk, take a moment.
Right.
It clears your head. And when you come back, believe it or not, those answers that were difficult to come by, you get the answers like that because your head is clear and you can refocus. It's a reset. It's a reset. So if you use those lunch or those 15-minute breaks as a reset, I think that those are good things.
It is a recalibration. And I think that because of the pandemic, we've obviously gone to the other extreme. Everybody's working remotely. Prior to that, nobody worked remotely.
Yeah. Well, I did.
Okay. Well, but we're going to come back. My sense is that we're kind of getting that median now of what's the right balance, because working remotely offers employees certain things, a level of satisfaction like we were speaking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's not about money, but it gives them a certain quality of life, a little bit of flexibility. And people go, wow, hey, I like that hour that I don't commute in the morning and the hour I don't commute at night, especially for New Yorkers and, the tri-state area. We tend to have to deal with that.
Or in California, for God's sakes.
I worked there.
The parking lot, highway that they have.
It's true. And I just mentioned to someone that when I was there, people used to leave 4:30 in the morning sometimes to get to work.
Yeah.
That was absurd.
Quality of life.
You get some of that back. Yeah. But on the other side, I will say my entire career has been spent with, interfacing with clients and customers. And I don't want to give that up. That's the better part of things that you do, because you make relationships, you get things done because people see you and you get close to one another.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And yet it's so funny in the industry as a life and business coach, I do a lot, if not more than 90% of my interaction via Zoom. But I'm still face to face. I'm still getting some kind of connection, but it's different for the young, like my son. He doesn't get that interaction, that business corporate interaction with other people his age, other young professionals who are in the office. So they're missing that connection. They're starting to miss that connection. And,
Yes.
and so I agree with you. I think the pendulum's going to swing back. But now we see that we have options and that it doesn't have to be 100% from this office.
That's right.
And we don't need as many offices, which is a cost reduction. So remember, we were talking about onboarding, the cost of onboarding and the cost of retention. Now you have something to offset that, and you can say, hey, listen, I want you in the office 3 days a week because we do these meetings,
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but Monday, Friday, work from home.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, my son and my daughter-in-law commuted to the city for their job, and obviously they had to change like everyone else. But one of the things I noticed with my daughter-in-law is like she can book time for, go in,
Yeah.
you can have a meeting, and well, now they're back, but you're able to book time, use a conference room. You don't necessarily have to have a hard and fast office, right? You can rent space. And I thought that was not rent space, but reserve space.
Reserve space.
And I think that's the way business is kind of changing. You don't necessarily need that standard situation that you had in the past.
Yeah, that's why I like these the pop-ups where they have rentable offices where you could just rent it, and they have a kitchen and they have conference rooms and they have internet, and you just rent the office for whenever you need it, if you need it, which is great for me because when I'm coaching new businesses, their first is, okay, I got to find a brick and mortar. And I'm like, whoa. First of all, do you have the money for that? Do you have the budget for that? And two, why can't you do it from here?
Right.
And when you need an office to have that conference room or to have that meeting with clients, then you can actually rent it, a Regal or one of those companies that do that around here, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And then that cost is $300 in a month as opposed to $3,000 in a month. And you can put the other money towards marketing and getting your message out there and getting more clients in. So it's just a matter of looking at all the options and what works. And some people, that doesn't work for you, need a brick and mortar.
Right.
And then that's a different scenario. So that's why strategy comes in, which brings us back to what this today is about, is setting goals and the importance of setting goals. So a lot of people go, okay, I'm going to set a goal, but they don't really understand what a goal is. So as we've spoken about a goal, what is the definition of a goal? It's what by when, how much by when. What is it do you want to do, and by when do you want to do that, so that you know where you're going? It's kind of like a vacation. I don't take a vacation and I don't know my destination, because if I didn't, how do I know what I'm going to take? Am I going to take a bus? Am I going to take a car? Am I going to fly? Am I going to take a train? Am I going to take a boat? I don't know. Where am I going? If I go to Davis Park, which is Fire Island right off of Long Island, I'm going to take a ferry over there. Well, but if I didn't know that was my destination, I wouldn't know how to get there.
That's right.
The same thing with goals. If you don't know where you want to be, how do you know what travel you're going to take, what direction you're going to take, what your trajectory is going to be? And more importantly, are you achieving it? Achieving what? And a lot of people go into their working in their business every single day, just putting out fires. And that's why you don't see a lot of growth and people get stagnant. Right. That's because they don't have a strategy, don't you think?
I do. And strategy is critically important. I want to also capture one other thing that you said. The way you said about setting a goal makes it simple. If you can't articulate it simply, if it can't clearly be stated to somebody else, somebody that's not in your business, you should be able to tell your goal to somebody that's not in your business, and they understand.
Yes.
Right? Otherwise, that goal, if it's that complex, you can't achieve it because it's going to be so complex, the strategy will be impossible to execute, right?
Yeah.
So simple goal and a strategy is, how am I going to do it? What's the approach that I'm going to take?
Right.
Right? And you want to test all the activities that you're going to do, the tactics. They should marry up to that strategy, because if they don't, then you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Right? And then am I working on my business or am I working in my business?
Right. And working on it. So I have a rule that I work 2 days a week on my business and 3 days of work in my business with my clients. Working on my business is future and setting up programs and having conversations to have more clients and help more people do what they love to do. So it's important to understand there's a difference between the two. And when we get back from break, which we're going to take in a little bit, I want to jump into into really setting goals and the importance of setting goals and why we do it even more than what we've spoken about so far. But an example to differentiate between working in your business and on your business is picture yourself in a pool. You're treading water. You're intaking. You're trying to just keep your head above water, not drown. That's working in your business. Every day you're intaking, you're dealing with maybe personnel, you're dealing with situations, you're dealing with incoming. Working on, and I'm the coach on the coping, looking in the water saying, shark up ahead, you got incoming from behind, and I can look at it in a different perspective. Also, as the coach, I can hold you accountable to the goals that you set. And as your coach too, I have no emotional attachment to the end result.
That's right. Which
allows that observational look. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the difference between working from your ego and your observer. That makes a big difference when you're making decisions. And that also tells you if you're working in your business versus on your business. So we're going to talk about more of that when we come back. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I almost said welcome back to Lorianne. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, or you'd like to hear about some things or more about what we're talking about, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. Really appreciate the input. And, I want to shout out to a couple of my regulars, our regulars. We really appreciate you guys a whole lot for listening. So, we were talking before the break about, working in your business versus on your business and goal setting, how much, by when. The cool thing about goal setting too is not only do you see where you're going, but it gives you a direction. But the number one important thing for me with goal setting is as we're going, sometimes they change. So there's one thing about resolutions. Do you keep resolutions? Do you make resolutions every year? You do?
I do.
Do you keep your resolutions?
I would say 70% of the time.
Oh, that's really good.
70% of the
That's really
time.
good because the average is
Well, they're very low
close.
goals, so.
Not really stretching.
No, I don't want to overachieve.
Really? Yeah, we will not have any of that. It's like getting up in the morning. You're going to choose to do that. Things like that. All right, we'll talk. And it's how much I win, so that works.
Right.
No, but most people don't achieve their resolutions, and the reason why, and they do it for a couple of days and then they quit. Why? I
think that there's a reason for that. Many times people tend to set these goals. We said stretch goals. I think there's a difference between a stretch goal and an astronomical goal.
Oh, audacious.
Right? Yeah. So you want to be bold, you want to motivate yourself, you want to really stretch yourself as a person, as a professional. But it should be something that is understandably achievable. Not that it's easy, but that's in the meaning that there is a way for you to get there. It's going to take change. It's going to take work, but it's possible, as opposed to a goal that you can't hit this goal.
So, yeah. So a lot of people are like, I'm going to change everything in my life all at the same time. That is just, you can't withstand
Not going to happen.
You can't withstand that because we are habitual. We are habitual. So we just have to break old habits, and incorporate better habits, right? But it's it's hard to break a habit. It takes time. So I liken it to eating a pizza. We order a pizza.
I'm very good at that.
Yes, I understand that.
It's an area of expertise.
When we order the pizza, though, we don't eat the whole pizza in one bite. We take it by the slice, right?
Right.
So the same thing with our resolutions or our goals. We have to look at, okay, we want to have the whole pizza, but we're not going to eat the whole pizza. We're going to do a slice at a time. Our goals are that way, too. You have to stair-step your way there. It's not a one and done in most cases. And if you're setting goals, it's funny because you said attainable, and I call that sandbagging. Whereas for me, I want attainable, but I also want to reach. If you're uncomfortable with the goal and go, ooh, that's a little stretch, those are the goals I want. Those are real goals.
Right. I think you articulated it better. Right. You definitely want to stretch. I guess I always help folks, and it's less common for people people typically set easily achievable goals, right?
Well, they know they're going to achieve it.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want to get them to stretch. But I think there's also a group of folks that say, oh, I want to, and they put this goal out. And the problem is, if you put a goal out that is towards the impossible, you're going to frustrate yourself and not chase after it.
Well, you're not going to believe it. And part of achieving a goal is the belief. And what is belief? Right. Belief is a thought we keep thinking over and over again, and that becomes a belief. We can think different thoughts, and then this way it will be even more achievable. But let's just say you're starting a new business and you want to make $1.2 million by the end of the year. Probably an unlikely overvalued assessment or goal. So you're not going to see success. So there's a very fine line between setting yourself up for success and setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
So let's just say you want to do $1.2 million, but let's just say you want to do it in 3 years. That's probably more achievable than within 12 months. Some people go, oh, in 6 months, I'm going to do $1.2 million, and because they said it out loud, they think it's going to happen. So that's not the only thing we do with goals, right? We have to take action. We have to take, set really achievable actions that allow us to take a step closer and closer and closer. And the consistency with those actions are allowing us to really achieve that goal. So I ask you, when you're thinking about setting some goals for this year, and I'm encouraging everyone, whether you have your own business or you're working for someone else, set goals for yourself. And goals aren't just business related either. Right. When you're setting goals for your business, you're also setting goals for you personally. So in order for you to get that new car, for you to redesign your kitchen, for you to go on that vacation, you need to earn X amount of dollars. So you start seeing a pattern. If this, then that. Just keep that in the back of your mind. If I make, I don't know, I'm going to make up a number. If I make $50,000 this year, then I will be able to take this vacation down to Acapulco. I don't know where that came from, because I was thinking Aruba. Acapulco came out of my mouth.
Good choice. Beautiful place.
Is it? I've never been.
Nice.
Went to Aruba. Love it. Really recommend it. Gorgeous water. Anyway, with that said, you see what I mean with doing that?
Yes. And interestingly enough, as you approach it in that way, it gives you a chance to appreciate the things you do really well.
Yes.
And acknowledge the things that you don't.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Find your strengths. Play to your strengths. There was a book years ago that said you can get so much more coaching someone to amplify their strength.
Yes.
As opposed to trying to overcome something that you don't do well, which at best, even if you put an immense amount of energy behind it, you're still going to only be incrementally better, and you don't like it, and you're not going to do it anyway.
You're not finding the joy, yeah.
Right.
So that's where when I talk about staying in your wheelhouse, that's what I mean by staying in your wheelhouse. When we stay in our wheelhouse, we're doing what gives us great joy and we love the most. The stuff that are our weaknesses, we can hire somebody to do it.
That's right.
Like, I don't enjoy doing math. That's why I always say I don't do math, I do marketing. I don't enjoy it at all. That's why I have an accountant. That's why I have people taking care of all that part of the business, because I don't like it. Can I do it? Yeah, I could do it. Is it worth it for me to take my time to do that? No. There's value in not spending time doing that and spending time in your wheelhouse, in what your superpower is, whatever that superpower is.
Well, you can make more money doing what you do well and making it rain in your business, than doing those tedious things that they're important. I'm not diminishing.
Without a doubt.
That's why other professionals are so valuable. But do what you do well to make money and drive that, because you love it. You're naturally motivated to it. That energy is there every day. Yeah,
and that vibration, and we speak about that here, your body actually vibrates at a higher level when you're happy. There's a chart that's out there, and it eludes me who did the chart, and I'll put it in the notes later for our listeners when it comes to me. But there's a chart, and it actually shows the vibration of like joy and happiness up here, and the vibration of frustration and unhappiness down here. And as you vibrate higher, as you're in those joyous, happy, there are some people that they're always happy and it's kind of annoying. It's like, why are they always happy?
Pot.
Whatever. But they're still vibrating up here. And with that said, it's that vibration that it puts out. When you're putting out that vibration, other people get attracted to that vibration and want to find out what it is you're doing to be that happy. And that you'll find the same people are surrounding you. So if you're around a lot of people who are very negative and they come from a very negative point of view, you're going to find yourself coming at things a very negative point of view. That's why I keep saying, shut off the TV. Stop it. Don't watch the news. It's annoying. So don't turn off your radio, though.
Well, think about it. If you went somewhere, let's say you're walking along and there are two people. One person on one side is doing the same task as the person on the other side. And the person that you encounter on your left side says, oh my God, look at this is so cool. This is so much fun. Have you ever seen this? And they're telling you can hear the energy.
Feel it.
You can feel the motivation
they
have, right? Person on the right side is going, I've been doing this for about 20 minutes. This is absolutely a nightmare. I don't even know how this thing works. They're doing the same task, right? And yet they have different approach. You'll gravitate naturally to the person that's kind of positive, inspiring and motivating. And that's the same thing about work.
You're also going to retain more about what they say because of the way that they say it in such a positive, motivating way. So yeah, without a doubt. And there's different vibrations associated with that. And that's what we bring to work. And that's what we have to look at, full circle back to our goals is we have to make them attainable, but not obviously attainable. They have to be reached. You have to raise that bar on yourself so that you can get better. Otherwise, there's no growth. And without growth, you're not going to feel that excitement. You're not going to get fulfilled. But just think about something. It doesn't matter what it is. Think about something you did that you really were afraid to do. You really were challenged to do, and then you achieved it and how good you felt. That feeling was like you were invincible. I remember that I learned how to ride a motorcycle a few years ago, and I was going on my first trip, and I had never been on a long trip before. And here's the thing. I was going up to Laconia, New Hampshire, which are all hills, by the way, and we live on Long Island, so not a lot of hills. We got little ones, but they're not mountains like up in Laconia. And I had never stopped my motorcycle, which is 599 pounds, on a hill. Well, there's different actions that you do as opposed to just putting your feet down. There's other things. So now I've already committed to this trip, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I literally watched YouTube videos. I do not recommend you doing this. I'm just saying this is what I did. And I watched YouTube videos on this is what you have to do. This is what you had to do. And I found this little hill and I practiced it. It was this little tiny hill. But it was still a hill, and I practiced it, and I'm like, okay, I got this. And so the week before I was supposed to leave, I started trying to talk myself out of it. Oh my God, what happens if I fall? I take the bike, I put it in a truck, I ship it back to the house, I come home. Maybe I'm done with riding a motorcycle. What if I get into an accident? Same scenario, and I walked myself through. So one side of me was like, and the other side was like, just chill out. It'll be fine. So once I got over that morning, I was like, no, I'm doing this. That morning I pack. And of course, even then I was like, well, what if the pack falls off? Because it was the first time I tied my luggage on the back of my motorcycle. I'm literally trying to find any excuse not to go. And I was like, it'll be fine. They'll check it when I get there. And I walked my bike to the bottom of my driveway only because I didn't want to wake up the neighbors because it was 4 a.m. in the morning. We had to meet at 5 at the place we were meeting. And I sat at the bottom of my driveway, and I'm on a semi-major road. But it's 4 a.m. in the morning. How many cars do you think were passing by?
One.
None. And I was looking to the right, and I was looking to the left, and I was looking to the right, and I was looking to the left. And in my head, I was like, what are you looking for? There are no cars to be seen, So I was like, okay, now another stall tactic, right? So I was like, no, this is it. I'm going to do it. So I started up my bike. I went across the street, over the curb, through some brush, across the curb, down on the street.
To grandmother's house we go.
Pretty much, and kept the bike upright. And I was like, well, that was a hell of a start, but I'm still upright. I'm going. And I did. And I went on and I got onto a ferry, which, by the way, if anybody's ever taken a bike on a ferry, it's not easy because the boat's moving. And so you have to stay upright on two wheels while the boat's moving. And upright on two wheels is great when it's fast, but when it's slow, there's weight to the bike that you have to compensate for. And yet I did it. And when I went up, I was able to stop on the hill. Now, granted, the first time I did it, I'm doing everything the video said. I was doing everything that I practiced, the whole 9 yards, and I wasn't moving. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing wrong? I was holding onto the foot brake for dear life. And all of a sudden I realized, I got to release that brake too, because you have a handbrake and a foot brake. I have to release that brake too. When I did, I popped it and it went phew, and I took off like a bat out of hell. The good thing was I was with a pack of other people and they were holding the cars behind me back. So I didn't have that pressure. But once I did that, again, I overcame this hurdle of fear. And I kept going. On the way back, I'll never forget the feeling of elation that I did this. Right. I actually accomplished this. I worked and practiced, and I went and I did this, and I overcame a fear that I could have easily stayed home and never done it. And so glad that I did.
So you faced it, and the thing
head on.
And the thing that stands out is it's okay to be afraid.
Yeah,
we are going to be afraid, and you're going to be in situations. That's right. You're going to be in situations where you don't know what the outcome is, and there's a potential of catastrophe, right? Because seriously, in all seriousness, a motorcycle is a serious thing.
Sure. But
you face it, and you do it, and you stay true to yourself in that I'm just going to put my best effort. I can do this, right? And there you are.
Yeah. And the other thing that's real important when you're trying something new is, and this is a real hard thing to do, but you have to take a hard line on it, is people were like, no, don't worry, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. You do it at your speed, at your time, when you're ready for it. So if you feel like, because the most dangerous thing to be is a motorcycle rider in fear of their motorcycle. That is the most dangerous motorcycle rider, because you're going to fall.
Right.
You're setting yourself up, because what we think we're putting out into the universe, and that's what really happens. So if we're scared of it, we're not in control of it. It's in control of us. So if we can eliminate fear from anything, we can do anything. So, and just remember, we're not given the ability to dream something if we don't have the ability to carry it out. Let me say that again. We're not given the ability to dream something if we aren't given the ability to carry it out. So if you could dream it, you could be it. You've heard that. If you could dream it, you could see it, you could do it. You've heard all these expressions. That's what it means.
Right.
It means that we're not going to be able to come up with something. Like, I didn't come up with how to create a rocket. That's not my wheelhouse, dude. That's not something that I do. So that's not my dream. But my dream is to serve as many people as possible to help them follow and achieve their vision and dreams. And that's my wheelhouse. That's where I'm in my joyous, happy place. And you know that you're in the right place when it comes easily.
But it doesn't come without fear. It doesn't come without overcoming.
Sure.
Right? That's what the greatest part of your story is. It's not that you said, I'm not going to be afraid. It's that I am
doing it anyway.
I am afraid. I'm going to try. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
When you're, and I'm going to apply it back to work. God, I have no right to get this account. I don't know. I'm not the best brand, or I'm not the one that can. But you know what?
Imposter syndrome.
Why can't I do it?
People suffer.
Take a swing.
Yeah, take the swing. You got to take the swing and go get outside the box. That's why we're saying create those goals higher. Make sure you reach for those goals. Make those goals high enough. Don't sandbag yourself, knowing that you're going to be able to achieve that number or achieve those goals within a couple of months. You really want to grow yourself, and you grow yourself by reaching into that uncomfortable zone. And that's something that we do, is we help people and we go along for the ride. We hold them accountable, and we take them into their uncomfortable zone in a comfortable, nurturing way to allow them to achieve that. And once they do, once you get that taste, what happens, Vince?
You get that courage to go on, and you want to press farther and harder.
You want that feeling again.
That's right.
That feeling of achievement is awesome. That feeling of stretching yourself is awesome. The feeling of I can is awesome, and it's very addictive, and that's a really good addiction. The I can addiction is great. So we're really promoting today for everyone listening to set goals for yourself for this year. And if you want, feel free to send them to me. I'll be more than happy to walk through them with you and help you. Just it's a free conversation. There's no charges or anything like that, because I really want you to set those goals. And I know I did it for your team, and
did such a great job.
It.
And the thing that I think people came away with too was you implied this, but you didn't really call it out, is you get a little bit of an edge when you've got that success.
Yeah.
And in business, once you've done it, you're like, well, why shouldn't I take a swing at a bigger account? Or why shouldn't I go after another opportunity?
Yeah.
Because and that edge, if you can get that edge, it just helps you overcome, because then all of a sudden the fear is not insurmountable, it's controllable. You understand it, but now I'm going to take this opportunity. Right? I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to take a shot.
You're building up that validation within yourself, because here's the key.
Yeah.
All our success codes are already in us. Everything we need is inside. We keep reaching outside. We're taught to reach outside of ourselves. All our success codes are here. Sometimes we need a leg up. We need other people in our lives to do those things that aren't in our wheelhouse, aren't our superpower. But other than that, we have everything inside. We have to trust. And every time we excel at taking those risks, we're building trust in ourselves. Right. Trust enough to take a swing at that bigger account. And so definitely set your goals. Last thoughts.
Last thought is just trust yourself. If you trust yourself, you can achieve great things. Don't listen to others. They don't mean to be, but they can sometimes help you distrust yourself, and you have to believe in who you are.
Well, and a lot of times what you're hearing is their fears within themselves, has nothing to do with you. So if you feel it in your gut and it's something you want to do, follow it. Follow your dreams. Go after it. Pursue it. Don't worry about figuring it out. It'll come, because that's what our brain does. It automatically figures out what we need to do to achieve those dreams. So to do that, you need to set goals. Set your goals this year. Just put it down on paper. Look at it every day, morning and night. Remind yourself. Your brain will figure out and solve all those other issues, right?
Yes, they will.
Yeah. I love having you on.
It's great to be here.
You're
Thanks
awesome.
For the time. As are you.
Thanks so much. Vince Perrotta, superpower man. I adore him. In the meantime, thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. It is true joy for me every time you're here. And what do I always say? Play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up what, Michael?
Big.
There you go. Show up big. I hope you guys have a really good week, and we will see you next week. Vince, thanks so much.
Thank you.
It was great.